Now it's time for the success under stress. Know when to push back.
Hmm.
We have Paula Klein that is going to bring it. All righty.
Good morning, Miss
Good
Paula.
morning, Miss Paula. Can you hear us? She can't hear us.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we have
We're good.
Justin
I'm
B.
here.
Long.
Good morning, Brother Justin.
All right. Okay. Now you can hear us, Paula.
We're back.
You're
My
good.
husband called.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
she had to mute
All
herself.
righty. So you have to
Okay.
mute yourself. Okay. Well, okay. Before we get started, we would like for you to introduce yourself to the guests, Miss Paula Klein. Can you tell them a little bit about yourself and where are you located?
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I am
Mhm.
from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So I am not far,
Not at all.
not far. I am a military spouse of 15 years to
Mhm.
the Navy, if you're curious.
All right. All right.
Yep.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thanks. So we've been here the majority of my husband's career. I have two kiddos, and I'm just passionate for health and wellness and well-being and talking all those things. I'm so happy to be here.
All righty then. And Justin B. Long, tell the people about you. They
Well, my
already
name
know.
is Justin B. Long, and
Mhm.
I'm an author and a business owner and a recovering alcoholic and a active participant in becoming the best version of myself that I can be.
Mhm.
And I am also very excited to be here. This is my family. It's where I plug in.
Oh, you know what, Justin, we love you. It was just like when I see your face, it always said, thank you, Paula, too. But when I see Justin's face, it
Mm.
always, I know that I got some help with Brother Carter.
Amen. Amen.
So I'm like, okay, if there's anybody that can help me with Brother Carter, it's his brother Justin. So
All right.
to
Thank
you
you, Brother Justin, for being on the show.
and to both of you all, thank you so much.
I got a question for Paula right
Sure,
quick.
go ahead.
Paula, are you a Sooner or a Cowboy?
Oh, good
Oh,
one.
that's a very good question. I'm a
Dangerous.
Sooner all the way.
All right. All right. All right.
Sooner,
Mm.
sooner. Yeah, I did all my schooling there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you guys got this topic, success under stress, know when to push back. What did y'all think about that? What do you think about that topic, Justin?
Mm. Well, because I always knee jerk reaction, I go to the negative. So I honed in on stress and thought about all the stress in my life.
Mhm.
And then I thought about all the therapy I've had, and I stepped back and was able to look at the success side of it and look at all the success I've had in my life. And I don't think that any road is easy. If you're going to do something with your life, there's going to be some challenges and some pain involved. But,
Mhm.
pain is where growth happens.
There,
So, I'm learning to embrace that stuff.
Mhm.
there you go. And I cannot move forward. I was actually got ahead of myself because
Mhm.
I'm sitting in here with Miss Abigail,
Yeah.
and she's also on the show, even though she is a part of the team today. She is in studio, and we have her sitting on the show, and she has something to say on that. Abigail, introduce yourself to the people and tell them why you have been chosen to
Abigail
speak
River.
on this.
Yes, ma'am. So, this is actually my first week here
Mhm.
working at the Love and Victory show, and it's so much fun. It's really rewarding as well. I recently was. I quit my full time job. I was working full time as a manager at Ulta Beauty. I was doing that for like pretty much all of 2022,
Mhm.
and recently kind of decided to take a different career path. And because it was very stressful. So
Okay.
I can definitely speak to stress and kind
Mhm.
of trying to find success in that as well.
Mhm.
So going a different career path and how that can come with its own challenges too.
All
Yes.
right. Well, welcome to the show, Abigail.
All
Thank
righty
you. I'm
then.
so
Well,
excited.
we're getting ready to just dive in here. We ask, and I'm going to go ahead and say that we always ask for these words that describe you. And I'm going to say, Paula, you are frank, you are dedicated, you're a chocolate, what? You are what?
Chocoholic.
A, a chocoholic, passionate and caring. Now, when I see chocoholic, are you saying that you love chocolate?
Just
Yes, the food.
The food, okay. Okay,
Just like Justin and myself, once inspired alcohol.
Okay then. Okay then. Abigail, you tell us. You said you're approachable.
Yes.
You are diligent, confident, curious, friendly, and accountable.
Maybe a little too confident sometimes.
Well, I don't think you can ever be too confident. I think that it's always good to keep it in perspective,
Yeah,
where
for
it
sure.
doesn't come off cocky, but it's good to be confident in yourself and your
Yeah.
ability. So
Experience will help you find balance with that. Too.
there you go. There
Mhm.
you go. Exactly.
But that's true what you said. Sometimes you can be overconfident and you tend to take shortcuts,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and so that can get you in trouble sometimes. So be careful with the overconfidence.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking things slow, step by step.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting ready to get started. I'm going to throw out Paula. You, Justin knows as well as Abigail. We'll throw out a question, or
Mhm.
maybe Abigail doesn't know. We'll throw out a question, and then we'll take the conversation from there. And I'm going to start off in studio with
Mhm.
Abigail, and then anybody can jump in.
All right. Call them out.
Okay, stress is common occurrence that happens in life. In your opinion, where does stress come from for you?
For me, I think my stress comes from my own self.
Mm.
I think I put a lot of stress onto myself. I put a lot of
Mhm.
pressure on myself.
Mhm.
And I said I was confident, and I am confident, but sometimes, and even you, Miss Carter, told me this when you interviewed me, that I can be my own biggest obstacle, essentially. And kind of as I'm trying to go through this transitional period in my career, I'm also trying to kind of put myself out there more on social media to kind of see what opportunities arise there. And I used to not I didn't want to post because I'm like, oh, I would overthink it. I'm like, it's not good enough. It's not this.
Mhm.
And earlier your thought of the day, kind of, if you can't walk, then crawl.
Mhm.
I'm like, well, as long as I post something,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
getting there.
Yes.
We're starting it off. So I think my stress definitely comes from my own critiques of myself.
And that alone, sometimes I think we can overthink. We get in our heads, which holds us back more than pushes us forward. Paula, you want to jump in on that a little bit?
Yeah, my first two words that came to mind were stress is internal and external, right? So things that we can't control and things that we can control, right? So
Mhm.
internally, we can work on our mindset, we can work on our reactions to stress, but we have no control of the things that come at us, right? And part of being a military spouse is we have zero control, right? We don't know when our husbands or spouses are just going to be deployed. We don't know when they think they're going to be home at a time, but they really show up 5 hours later and you are
Mhm.
still home holding down the home, so you have to learn how to manage it internally,
Mhm.
right? But there's also, like Abigail was saying, there's those internal processes, the thoughts that we have. And so that is why when I am talking to a military spouse, we have to work through the internal process, the things that we can quote unquote control in order to manage, right? Stress is always going to be there in some capacity.
Yes.
It's how do you manage it?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, Justin, let's hear what you have to say on that.
I think a lot of my stress comes from my own expectations of perfection, and that's a really hard thing to override. My dad, as you guys know, my dad demanded perfection of me as a child, and I was never able to meet those goals. But somehow, unconsciously, I created that same expectation for myself.
Mm.
And a good example is at our veterinary clinic. We put on a seminar every month, and I'm the engineer and the producer for that. And so I've got all the cameras and the computer systems and the lights and the microphones, and I'm trying to make all that work. And invariably, something goes wrong, and I get stressed out of my mind trying to put on the show.
Yes.
And no one else has that expectation of perfection for me. We're not IBM putting on a $50 million conference. We're a
Right.
small veterinary clinic doing a Facebook Live, So I'm doing that to myself, but
And
it's still stressful.
But most of the time, I didn't mean to cut you off, but most of the time, like you said, do you think that we're putting that on ourselves? We are creating that
Yeah.
sense of unnecessary stress because we really already have it together. Like you said, you're not um IBM or somewhere trying to put on a show. You're just a small veterinarian, trying, well, not small, Justin. You don't call it small anymore. How many animals you have over there?
Well, we're a small business, but still,
Yeah.
it's nobody expects us to be perfect in our presentation except for me.
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
Yes.
And people are forgiving of glitches and when things go wrong. The only one that demands that it be perfect and is critical when it's not is me.
Right.
I needed to hear that this morning. Brother Carter, what's your thought on that?
I'm gonna tell you how simple stress can come upon you. Just getting dressed this morning and looking at clothes that you have on, and you want this perfect look like Justin was just speaking of there, and you put a lot of stress on yourself just by just looking at yourself. And I know you can contest to that.
What? Not anymore. You just,
That's old news.
that's old news. Baby. I just go in the club. Oh,
Okay, so why do you have 5 outfits on the bed?
baby, you know what? You ain't.
I'm just asking the question.
That's different. That's like if we go. You know what?
That looks stressful to me.
It's for
It's
you.
fun. It's fun for women. We
it's-
like it. It's playing dress up.
Oh, okay.
Good comeback, Abigail. Good comeback. Good comeback. I actually am going to throw one more out there. What is the main cause? Well, we just answered that. Does your stress usually lead to other things like laziness or bad habits?
Wow.
That's a good one there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one there.
JBL, go ahead, JBL.
Well, my stress leads to a bad experience for everybody. I am still in the early stages of learning how to manage my feelings and my emotions and how to not, wear everything on my sleeve, whether it's good or bad, because, in my position at the vet clinic, I'm the boss. Everybody's looking to me to be the leader and to manage the crisis. And so when I lose myself and I take that out on everybody around me, everybody's having a crisis. Everybody's having a bad day.
That's true.
And that's a lot of responsibility that, I'm not only managing the situation, but I'm responsible for the experience that everyone around me is having.
Right. And the attitude and everything else.
It's so
right.
that is I have to, a lot of times when I have 50 million things going on and I come in, I walk into the office, and if I know I'm heavy and I got some things going, I like to back up and not really engage with other people, because I don't want to transfer over to them my stress that has nothing to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And so I really try very, very hard to, when I get into that place and I know that it's coming on me, it's to kind of step back, because I need my team. And if I'm really, really heavy, I'll go to them and say, hey, I'm having a really tough moment. I can't tell you how many times I walked over into Kelsey's office and I would say, and I know she was busy, and I would say, hey, Kelsey, right now I'm having a moment. I really need some help so I can get out of this space. I'm going to ask you, Kelsey, did that stress you out when I come, or how did that make you feel when I would come to you and say that to you?
It will make me feel okay, because I'm not the only one.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
All right. It's normal.
It's
okay to stress. We're human.
Okay.
And you needed somebody to talk to about that. So I was there, and I'm very, like Abigail, I'm very approachable. Anybody can come to me and talk to me about anything.
And I think what happens is you have to find, I believe what you have to do, you have to find someone that is a safe place that you can bounce it off. And I hope that the environment and the culture we try to set up in the office is that you can go to your colleagues. It's okay to say to your colleagues, hey, I'm having a moment, so that we can get through it and we're not being hostile or treating people or attacking each other. So I'm going to bring this into the studio. I'm going to ask you over here, Mr. Eric. You give me an answer on that how do you feel about that same question?
Stress definitely leads to bad habits and laziness and things like that, because what happens is people can put stress on you, but more importantly, we put stress on ourselves. So it's one of those things where we overwhelm ourselves because of our thoughts. I tell people all the time, we have 24 hours in a day. That means we are thinking 24 hours. Even when we're asleep, we're dreaming, we have nightmares. So we're overwhelming ourselves with all these thoughts instead of
Mhm.
allowing God to just take the wheel and just relax.
Okay.
And but for the most part, when you overwhelm yourself, you have too much on your plate. Now you don't want to eat because it's too when you're looking at too much and you don't know where to start anymore because you put yourself in a bad position.
Okay.
So you become lazy, you become just scared, and then you have anxiety, and then it just too much comes on, but you put on yourself.
All right, that's a good one.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to what Kelsey said, how I almost kind of like when someone comes to me when they're stressed, because I'm like, okay, you feel it too. Like, we're on the same page. I'm not alone. And I think one of my faults is I'm a little bit of a yes man. I don't really say no. I'll take on anything. And then in turn, I have to then make sacrifices from myself to, help other people out, or, because I said yes to all these favors or to these things that I committed myself to. So for me, when I tack on that stress to my life, I do end up getting very lazy, and I don't do laundry.
Overwhelmed yourself.
And I'll be doing great at work, but then I come home and I'm not taking care of what I need to at home, not my relationships or cleaning or exercise or self-care, anything like that. So I definitely think it can lead to laziness, and then which could also lead to bad habits, like not taking care of yourself.
Right.
I think we need to look at that word lazy, though. I don't think that's appropriate for what's happening here.
Right.
That's
Yeah, burnout would probably be.
Yeah. When we get overwhelmed, that's the brain shutting down. It's not that we're being lazy, like, I don't feel like doing this stuff. It's that I can't function with this much on me right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Yeah. Break that down again, because I really liked what you just said about that, Justin. Say it again.
Go ahead, Paula, take that.
Just pass it around the room. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. So the term laziness kind of comes with like a negative connotation, but in this respect, your brain is just on overload and needs to rest. So it's saying, I cannot take on more right now. The dishes are going to have to wait. The laundry is going to have to wait. I'm going to do the bare minimum right now because my brain is on overload. So it's not being lazy. It's your brain telling you, I need to rest. And it's okay, I will get to those things. Now, it can become problematic if it's a long-term thing, right? I want to also flip it and say that sometimes stress makes you overdo things. I'm a stress cleaner. I do.
Explain that. Stress cleaner.
My husband will say, why aren't you stressed more often then? When I get stressed or anxious, I want the action of cleaning and the movement that you're just, it just helps my brain settle, and I can get into a thought pattern of how I'm going to work through the situation. Some history. I used to be a yeller, a screamer, a diarrhea of the mouth kind of person. When I would get stressed and it would just fly. My poor daughter says, man, you yelled at me so much. And I said, well, you're my first child. I practiced, I learned and I overcame. And it was probably 7. So my son is 6, almost 7. So add a year to that, where I realized that something needed to change in my reaction to the stressors. I was still a relatively new military spouse. I had a dying father. I then became a caregiver to my mother. I didn't get to grieve. I went straight to taking care of her. And then I went to having to move her 3. I had so much stuff on my plate, and boom. And I realized that my reaction was how my dad reacted.
Yeah.
My dad was a screamer and a yeller. That's how he dealt with his stress and anxiety and his undiagnosed depression, and that we knew he had. So I had to nip that in the bud, and because the people around me didn't deserve that, and I didn't deserve it. My behavior was making me feel bad inside.
Well, I want to go back to your stress, and the comments that are coming in want you to explain to us. I get it. So stressing and cleaning, I'm trying to put that together. When I am stressed, cleaning is the last thing on my mind. What I want to do is just kind of, and that just works for me. But I hear what you're saying. I just want to go sit and chill. I want to go in my backyard, have me a nice drink, a cocktail or something, and just chill. So you literally clean your house. Can you get stressed and come to Texas and do my wow. That I think I've never heard anyone say that, but I think that's wow.
Well, think about it. So, and part of the things that I work with my clients with is adding movement, because movement releases endorphins, and those endorphins make you feel good. And you're not feeling good, right? But when I'm in here and I'm cleaning my house and I'm scrubbing away at the tile and the bathroom floor and I'm doing my kitchen and the sink, and it's releasing these endorphins that are going to help me release a little bit of my negativity that's going on. And I get to go into a zone. I'm also an athlete. I like to run. I used to play soccer. So like these are all things that work for me, and people need to find what works for them. But movement releases endorphins, and cleaning is movement.
All righty then.
I definitely understand that because I stress clean too. So,
Oh.
but for me, what it is, I know that I'm getting something done. I know that I'm being productive, even though I have so much on my mind that other things I have to get done that I'm stressing over. At least if I'm cleaning, I'm getting something done. I'm organizing or something. Therefore, I can't relax if I know that something's not clean or I didn't put that up, because all that's going to do is add more in the future. So I definitely understand.
Okay, well, we got quite a few comments that have come in from, uh, I guess, Ebony, and then from our viewers. So I think I want to go in here and if we could, can we read some of the comments because they want some in on some of this here. So
yes, Ebony said I need that stress clean situation now. She also said when Eric was mentioning his stress cleaning, she said, so that's why when I run. Absolutely agree. I stress run. Also, earlier 7K 360 photo booth said unfortunately it can lead to procrastination. Going back to the question, where it can lead for laziness. Also, Ebony said because you mentioned being a yes man earlier. She said less normalized feeling okay to tell others no. And also Ebony said yes, not lazy, too much on your plate. That you really just don't know where to start in.
Very good comments. So that's just all in line with what we're saying.
Talking about the stress here, and I'm listening to everyone speak of acknowledging that they have stress and what they do to settle the stress. And so, if you're doing all this, why do you still continue to have these stress issues? Justin, start with you.
I think because I'm a human being and I am an irrational human being, like most human beings are. But it's what separates us from robots, really. I think if we did everything in a reasonable way and followed logic and didn't put ourselves through all the things that we put ourselves through, then A, everyone would be the same, B, no one would be interesting, and C, there would be no real purpose to our existence because we would have no growth to aspire to.
Right. I knew you would give a very analytical question there. So, Abigail, what you think about this? I mean, you recognize the stress, but you continue to do the stress thing. So why do we do that?
I thrive in chaos. I feel like sometimes I need a lot going on to kind of get where I need to get. Definitely like at my old job, I took on a lot more than I think I could handle. But in a way, like if I'm ever like sitting idle, like I feel like, okay, like I'm like itching. I'm like, okay, we need to get something done. So I think in a way I add that stress onto myself so that I can feel fulfilled and productive. I also think in our society, we definitely emphasize being productive all hours of the day. And I think I definitely internalize that. And so I stress myself out and I take on that stress because I want to feel good about myself.
Wow.
It's kind of a cycle.
Couldn't that be exhausting?
It's definitely exhausting.
It is exhausting, but I understand what you're saying. You're saying society have trained us, and this is one of the things that I really trying to fall back from, that you have to stay busy doing something, because if you're just sitting around, you're just wasting and doing nothing. And so we put ourselves in a situation that we want to measure up to what other people's expectations are.
Right.
That in itself is very unhealthy. So I really want us to kind of talk about that measuring up and how that keeps us from really being successful because we're basing ourselves and our need to be more and do more or look like somebody else to
For
be
someone
successful
outside of your
outside of yourself. So if
Wow.
since we have the
You're back, huh?
I'm back now.
All right.
See,
All right.
you see how you bring me back. So Justin, can you speak on that? How unhealthy? I'm sorry, not Justin, not you, Justin.
Not me.
I want Paula to speak on that.
Oh man. Well, you were talking, I had a really good story about kind of that. Sorry, the allergies are so bad up here. I am like suffering.
Yes.
When we lived overseas, see, hold on.
Is
let
it
me take a
is
little
this the allergy or is the legal weed that's in Oklahoma?
We're military. We can't have that. I mean, I'm not. My husband is. So we lived overseas for 4 years. We got married 6 months later. We moved overseas. And
Where
when
did you live overseas there, Paula?
we lived in Sicily,
Sicily.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that should have been interesting.
I would have stayed forever. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because this is what you're talking about, this pace of life and having to be busy and fill your calendar and kids' activities. When we lived over there, the life is so like chill, right? Very calming, very whatever. The joke is all the Italians, the Sicilians say domani, domani, tomorrow, tomorrow. You get to it tomorrow. Like don't put so much pressure on yourself. Don't rush everything. So we moved back. And that was actually one of my very first worries was I have this almost 2-year-old. What am I like? I don't know this life in America anymore, but I remember it being so busy. I remember not even being able to get in line. They talk about culture shock coming back. I couldn't get in line. Talk about stress. I'm at the mall and I don't know how to get in line at the Chick-fil-A because there's all these registers and all these people and everything is going and moving. And I'm like, because you don't get in line in Italy. Their lines don't exist. You elbow your way up and you raise your hand and you pay. And I remember telling myself,
Now that should be stressful to me.
you get used to it, right? You adapt to your environment. You adapt to things.
That's true.
Right. And I just remember, and even now we've been back 11 years and my husband will be like, the kids are too busy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I only have them in one sport. They're only allowed in one sport because I have friends here who have their kids in three different sports and they are never, like, I agree. You've got to learn to set boundaries.
Yes.
Boundaries for yourself and for your children.
That's it.
Your children want to do all the things. And you got to teach them from a young age. You can't do all the things. Let's hone in on what you love and enjoy so you can focus.
Well, and we also.
I got a question for Paula.
Before she goes, I was getting ready to say, and a lot of times as parents, as mothers, we want our children. Sometimes we try to live through our kids, so we end up putting more stress on them. You have to be the best cheerleader. You have to be the best football player, and we have them and they're on the football team, but then they also have to have they're babies, and they got to have a special coach that's coaching them on how to be I'm just going to say a better player. And then we're expecting them to stay on top of the game in school. It's just too much. And then we got to drive them around. And then we're complaining we need help. No,
and we associate that with success.
Yes.
And if you're not booked and busy, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not aiming for success.
Right. Okay, Brother Carl, I know you said that's exactly right. Yeah.
So Paula, what's that word again in Sicily?
Domani.
Domani means the tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah. I'm not going to stress on it today.
Gotta get the fingers in there.
Yeah.
Did y'all see that?
Yeah, you have
to. You just see that? He went into character on that.
My question, Paula, do you also work? You have a working career as well as taking care of the kids?
I do. So I work full time. And I started a small business recently. So, talk about having more stress.
Boy. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yep. So
how do you deal with all of that?
I schedule my time. I do not stretch myself too thin. And I've learned to ask for help as a military spouse. I had to learn that. It took a long time, probably 7, pushing 10 years to learn that it's okay to act. And actually, no, I learned to ask for help when my father was dying, my husband was deployed, and I had a 3-year-old daughter. Oh no, I had a 2-year-old. She was almost 3. And I was driving her back and forth from Oklahoma City to Tulsa. And I said, I need help. My husband's deployed. I cannot keep taking this poor little girl up and down the turnpike every chance I get. And so I went to some friends, and they kept her overnight for me until my husband could come off deployment and come take care of her. You just do learn to ask for help. Don't do all the things. Set the boundaries, and know that your success in your life is not measured on the things you do and accomplish and what people see. It's how you feel inside.
Now, I like your radio answer now. I want to hear the real thing you do when you really get stressed.
I kid you not. I clean. I work out. I kid you not. I really do. The dishes are my favorite thing to do.
Let me just tell you. Let me tell you, Paula. Brother Carter is the one that has to go to timeout all the time. So he's going to keep digging.
I love this.
He is the one we put in timeout. Sometimes I have to call on Justin, get him.
No, I'll tell you though, it's real. It's real. I really do.
That's the real
clean
answer.
and I work out. Those are my
right.
stress, and I make it a priority. I wake up at 5 a.m. So that I make sure I get my exercise in, because when I can't exercise, like right now I'm injured, I haven't exercised in a couple of days, and my mental health is off.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you no longer holler at the kids?
No, not as much as I used to. I kid you not.
Okay.
Let me get my daughter. She can tell you. If I raise my voice and I'm Hispanic and I'm Jewish, so it's like a really bad combo.
Okay.
So if I say their full name or I start talking in Spanish, they're in trouble.
Oh boy.
Well, I think he's bringing it up because when I stress, I'm so sweet, huh, Lawrence?
Yes, you are.
There you go. See,
that's my radio.
He lied.
That is my politically correct answer.
Well, when I'm stressed, at home. I tend.
When you're stressed at home, or
when I'm
stress
stressed.
Period.
Well, I try to.
So you have two different stress. You have a home stress and a career stress.
I deal with
professional.
I deal with stress differently. Full transparency. When I'm not at home than when I'm at home, which is not fair, but I do. I can't just go blow off on the team, and it doesn't make it right. But when I'm at home, we tend to let loose.
I'm the easy target, huh?
Well,
she trusts you to be able to handle it.
There you go. And I think that can also be that's unfair. But
it's not right.
It's
just not right.
But it's honest, and so I think we have to recognize that when
because
I do not deserve it.
See,
but you know what? Justin said the right thing. Justin said, because we think that she thinks you can probably handle it. We take out our stress on the people we love the most because we feel safe with them.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
We feel safe there.
Yes, and that's not a good thing. But thank God, 43, 44 years.
And so hopefully after this show today, we're going to have less stress when we come home from work. Amen.
Amen.
I like what Paula said about, take how you take out the stress on the people you love the most. Sometimes I say I'm a very bubbly, outgoing person. And especially when I go to work or whatever, I'm going towards professionally, I feel in a way I'm putting on a show. I have to be excited, I have to be eccentric, I have to be the best version of myself. So when I go home, when I drive home, that mask comes off and that show is kind of that's close the curtains. And then the people closest to me, I kind of might take it out on them. I might have a little bit of a tone or an attitude, or I might just stay really quiet and just go to my room and not engage.
Yes, and that's actually what I was talking. That's why I had to say it, because that's exactly what we do. And as you said, Paula, we take it out on the people that are closest to us. And we need to, I think as a whole this morning, we need to recognize that that's very unhealthy. It's unhealthy for you. It's unhealthy for your relationships and the people around you. And definitely if you have small kids there, it's unhealthy because people can pick up on the energy. So I think, thank you, Brother Carter. You gave me a moment to you was trying to pick on Paula over there, and your wife was the one that you need that.
Well, Paula's in Oklahoma. I can pick on her. She can't.
She can't do that. Okay, then you want to give him the next one, baby? The next question you have for him?
Has stress ever taken over you and overwhelmed you at a point?
All the
I'm
time.
gonna start with Abigail.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
A big reason why I was looking for a career change was because of the stress. I felt like no amount of time or energy that I put into it was going to get me where I wanted to be. And so I felt overwhelmed. It was like I took a month, like over a month, to make this decision, and I was like, I don't want this to be a rash decision. I don't want to be fueled by emotions, and I would cry on my way to work just thinking about the stress. That's what I was going to ask you.
What did that look like? What did that?
I was crying on the way there. I was staying late every single day, and I felt like I still had to. Like I was like, I still need to get all this done. The other people were like putting more work on me, and I felt like I had to clean up after people and go behind them and take over for them. And I felt so overwhelmed. And I remember telling my mom, I live with my mom, I was like, don't be surprised if I come home one day without a job. I'm like, I was just gonna have a breaking point one day. And of course I didn't want to do that. I want to do it the right way and stuff like that. And I really, really had to just disconnect myself and say, I'm here for 8 hours. What gets done in 8 hours gets done. When I leave, I don't think about it.
Abigail, I just met you this morning. And the first thing I said to you was that, wow, you have a take charge spirit, huh?
I do. Thank you.
Yeah. And so that is just your nature. That's just who you are. And sometimes that can be stress, since we're talking about stress, that can be very stressful to yourself, because you have that spirit of just want to see things done, and you got to get it done. And when people don't move in the way that you want them to move, that put a lot of stress on you.
I step in and I just take over.
And that overwhelms you sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Most definitely.
All right.
Okay.
All right, Justin, how you doing over there?
Man, I've been on this journey of learning who I am and how I tick, and changing all the things about myself that I don't like for a long time now, about 14 years. And
you got it all together now, or are you still working?
Well, now I'm realizing what my core challenges are that I need to overcome. And my number one problem, the number one source of stress in my life, is my need to control everything around me. And
you know what? That's the key word right there with all of you stress people, is that control.
You the only one that don't stress about nothing. No, not at all.
I don't have to have control of everything. I really don't.
That's the aspiration right there.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife, I don't have no problem with my wife being an alpha female in my life. I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem when she bring her stress home and put it on my shoulders. I mean, come on, baby, talk to me. We can talk about this.
Sounds like you're trying to control her a little bit.
Well, thank you, Justin.
No, I'm trying to control me at this point. But continue, Justin.
I think we've got a challenging relationship with AT&T at our business, and right now we pay AT&T $900 a month to have the internet and 2 phone lines at our business, because we had to have a dedicated fiber line run. And 2 years ago, that was supposed to switch over to a standard bill of like $200 a month, because we had paid for our installation for over the 3 years that we had that. And 2 years later, I still am paying $900 a month, because they haven't managed to change out the router and get everything done that needs to be done, which is very little. So it can all be done in one day if somebody would just do it. But every month I pay them another $900. And this year we've had 5 different completion dates when that changeover project was going to get done. And I have no control over any of this, zero. And I will tell you, at the beginning of the year, I was having like anxiety attacks about my inability to control this, because it's such a simple thing that needs to happen. and it can't happen. And I am a helpless victim in this. I have no ability to defend myself or stop the AT&T from screwing us over. And when I am working on my control game, which I do a lot of talking about in therapy, then I can accept that I have no control over this, and that at the end of the day, it's okay. That's not going to put us out of business. It's a frustration, but it's not going to put us out of business. But when I'm not on top of my game, like I am in a lockdown suicidal anxiety attack over this whole thing because it makes me so angry.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have I have someone that wants to jump in on this. I'm gonna have Eric go ahead and give you.
Before you go, Eric, I just want to say something to our viewers and listeners right quick. If you'd like to chime into this conversation about stress and how do you handle stress, you can give us a call. We'll take 2 callers at what's the number here? 346. I ain't said it in so long.
You need to say it. 346-355-0100.
Amen. That's the number to Raise and Praise radio station.
346-355-0100.
All right. Go ahead, Eric.
Amen. I think the main word I'm hearing is control. And it's 2 ways you can use control. You can just take over and put everything on your shoulders, or you can understand how to control chaos, is what I call it. I'm like an ex athlete, so I played sports growing up, and I was always the captain on every team. I was the captain, and I was always the best player on the team. The reason I was the captain is because I knew how to control chaos at all times. I wasn't the person who needed to take over. I was a team player. I knew how to pull certain players to the side. I knew how to point them in the right direction. I knew, so that opened up the door for them to come talk to me, not feel like because I'm the best. They knew I was the best player, and the coaches made them know that I was the best player. And that's a lot to put on a team for them to look at you and know you're the best, but they want to be the best too. So growing up, I just knew how to control certain type of stress by controlling chaos. So if we're in the middle of chaos, you're not going to see me just say, okay, let me just take over, let me do it. You're going to see me say, all right, well, if you're good at that,
you need to do this.
You're good at that, so let's do this so we can get it done. So that's how I kind of deal with all of my type of stress.
That's real good. All right. Well, what about you? You didn't know I was coming.
I don't believe that's called stress. Then, if you handle it like that, I just think you have a takeover spirit, like Brother Carter.
We could good management skills.
Good. There you go. You want to go? You want some of that, Kobe? Or you didn't have? You weren't ready. Okay, then. All righty. I think right now, there was a question that wasn't on here, and I want to ask about that. And this is about relationships. Let's talk about how, and I think I want you, Paula, females that are looking to date, are in a relationship, or starting a relationship, how much stress are they put on themselves just to be that perfect one for that guy? You have anything to say on that?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Okay.
So as you were asking that question, my first thought was, man, I haven't dated in almost 20 years.
Right. So I'm talking like something you probably talk with. Yeah, a girlfriend.
But I do remember being a brand new wife and trying to be the perfect wife. Right. And I would get up and make his panini and put it in his lunch and clean the house and do the laundry and I'm just living. I was at, all this piling up until the morning I didn't make lunch, and he said, where's my lunch? And I never made it again. And, but we put that stress on ourselves because I think that goes back to what does society expect? Yeah. Right. What has been put, in our minds of what a wife or a significant other is supposed to look like. And we have to work on that. We have to work on that.
And the reason I'm bringing it out, and I raised that question, and I want you to get some of that too, Abigail, because we as women, we put a lot on ourselves because, first of all, some women can be so mean to one another. So we have to come out being perfect. But then we want a man. We're wondering why we don't have a man in our life because we're walking around with this thing that we're perfect. And then we want them to approach us and we're unapproachable. Then the stress comes in. Like I've been sitting here and I know he see me over here. I got all dressed up and he doesn't even recognize me.
and don't even appreciate
And don't
all
even
the beauty. You took time to get all that done.
yes, yes, and that is stressful. You have any experience in that?
Yeah, my last relationship was very, very, very stressful. It was
Mhm.
extremely stressful. I find that the stress for me isn't, I told you I'm overconfident.
Yeah.
I feel like if someone wants to be with me, like, you know what
Yeah,
I mean, they're
yeah.
gonna like me for me. As far as like maintaining the relationship though, I do kind of carry stress with that because I do put a lot of pressure on myself. Like if there's any sort of disagreement, I'm like, I have to resolve this.
Mhm.
Like I definitely take that on myself, and I'll be like, okay, well, even though you said something that hurt my feelings, I need to find a way for us to address this. And like, especially in my last relationship, it was very like reactive. It was, okay, you said something that made me mad, so I'm going to hear something that makes you mad. And then we're just arguing at each other rather than kind of like dissecting the situation. So I think, in my current relationship and like going forward, I really try to attack the issue. Like, what started this? What
Yes.
was the thing that was said, or the tone, or sometimes it's just a change in environment. Like
Yes.
maybe the person felt uncomfortable,
Yes.
and kind of learning to take a step away from myself personally, because I tend to think, well, I'm perfect, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yes.
And taking a step away from myself and be like, okay, let's be objective. Let's see, like, okay, what did I maybe say that triggered this person, that triggered me, and then
Right.
it's just a back and forth.
Right.
That's
Okay.
huge.
That is very huge. I want to turn this to the men. Now, I'm going to ask Justin and Lawrence if there any stress when you guys were dating, or the guys, do you guys kind of stress about getting yourself ready to date and hanging out when you don't date anymore? What are the men's stresses?
Go ahead, Justin.
I think we all have the same thing in that. Like we want to present the best version of ourselves and to try to outshine everybody else. And I think online dating has made that so much worse than it ever was, before the internet. But my problem that I ran into with online dating is that everyone is presenting an image of who they want to be rather than who they are.
Right.
And that's a facade that you can't maintain once you actually meet somebody and start getting into a relationship or even getting to know one another.
Wow.
And so it just, like, I got to where I didn't trust anybody's profile. I just assumed that that's all lies and that's not who you really are. And that creates a bad attitude in me. And so I'm not bringing my best game because I'm already suspicious right off the bat.
Wow.
So it's
Wow.
just a negative spiral.
So what I'm hearing you say, because during my time there was no online dating, so I can't really speak to that. But with online dating, you're putting up a profile, and so that profile is painting a picture of who you want to be or who you want to be seen as most of the time.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, Brother Carter.
Now, my opinion on that is that there's no difference between male or female when it comes to stress. I think people are just people. Some people can handle stress better than others,
Okay.
and so I don't think it's a male versus
Female.
female that
Okay.
control it.
Okay. All righty then.
But I got a question for you now.
Go. Oh Lord. Uh-oh. Y'all ready for this? You got it for me.
That's the question. Here.
Okay.
That's just the question. When you're stressed, and you know you're stressed, and you start shouting at me out of nowhere.
Okay.
My question is, do you realize you're shouting at me, or do you not have control of your thoughts or something at this point, or what?
That's a good question, because most of the time, and Paula, you don't know us.
Help me, Justin. I'm getting in trouble here.
We're very transparent, and I think being transparent, and we want to be authentic, so we want our listeners to also feel comfortable and be transparent as well.
That's right.
So going to me when I'm stressed, and then
you're stressed, right?
Well, it doesn't usually, you don't know it at the time. It's something triggers it. And so it could be a word, it could be just a non-reaction. And at the time that I'm really needing a reaction, or I'm needing, and sometime, most of the time, when you don't.
So trigger can be good morning, babe. Don't say good morning to me right now.
Now you're being petty. Justin, get him. get it. So no, it could just be it's just stress. And so what I tend to do is I like to go step away for a moment when I know that I'm coming in and not engage. And when I step away versus you coming to me, it brings the trigger in for me.
Right.
And so I don't think I'm yelling, but then when I find myself yelling, I have to be like,
I
okay.
think sometimes too, like if I'm stressed and I like go to hang out with my friends and I see they're not stressed, I get a little mad because I'm like, why aren't you stressed too? Like it's almost like FOMO or jealousy. And so like I find myself sometimes like if I'm in a bad mood and someone else is in a good mood, I'm like I'll kind of lash out a little bit at them because I'm like, well, you need to be in a bad mood like me.
You're petty.
I am petty.
Yeah. And then, but can I add to that?
Sure.
Can I add to that? Because like to go with that, sometimes like when you want, so what am I trying to say? When like you're stressed and you're kind of yelling or whatever, you don't want your partner or your spouse to fix it.
Right.
You're just looking to just let it out, right? But there's healthy ways to do it. And sometimes you don't realize that you're just like la 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 until you're done, and then you feel I feel bad about it.
Yes,
Right?
it's kind of like it's crazy. Like, girl, did you have to go that far? But really, I didn't. But I don't want. Here's the thing: I don't want it to be fixed. I just sometimes that's why I'll go.
Well, you don't have to slam the door, though.
Well, stop talking, just to get him. Okay, Justin, come on in here and help your brother out.
I think it's to use an analogy. You know, I've got a sheep out in the back. His name is Gerald, and he does not like getting his medicine, but sometimes he needs his medicine, right? And so when we got to get him into a little pen, and I hold him, and my wife gives him the medicine. But sometimes he gets away from me, and so he's running, and he's in front of me, and he's in a little pen, so I'm right behind him, and I can see him, and I'm going to control him, but I just can't quite get my hand on him yet. And that's the way it is for me when I lose my temper, and then I'm venting at whoever's in front of me. Is that I'm aware of it, and I will wrangle it under control, but it might take me a minute to grab a hold of it, just like Gerald running around out there.
And I think the one thing that I appreciate that question and you asking about me, the one thing is when you recognize that you're there and then you can pull it back. But I think the worst side of that is people that kind of hold it in and mask like they're not feeling something and they have no emotion to something. When they finally let it out, it's it's a huge eruption because they've masked it down for so long. It's just finding a healthy way to release what you're going through. And so
because tell the truth of the matter is all stresses don't come out as lashing out.
Right.
There are calm ways of stress coming out that you can be talking to an individual but not talking to them, should I say, but talking at them.
Right.
And you're not realizing you pouring your problems, your stress out on other people and trying to put it on their shoulders, but you're trying to get rid of it. You're not knowing that you're trying to put it on
not
their shoulders.
necessarily. Sometimes it's just overwhelming. And when someone is trying to fix something, you're taking that on because they're not necessarily asking you to fix it. And so that's where the issue, the back and forth and the pull and tuggle comes from because you're wanting, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying.
I got a question too. I don't know if this male versus female, but why do most women I know have stresses or issues with something, bring it out, and don't want the man to fix it? Because I mean, that's how
we just like to talk.
That's our nature. Just you got a problem. Let me see if I.
Yeah, we just want to talk.
That's right. Come on, we just want to talk. Prime example. There was something that I said we talked about as a team this morning because I'm one that don't like to carry it. If I keep something on me, it's just festering. And then what ends up happening when you let something fester on the inside that is not dealt with,
that's
then
you.
No, I don't care who it is. If you let something fester on the inside that's not dealt with, you end up eventually being resentful toward the person or the situation. So it's always, in my opinion, I'm unlicensed, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor. For me, it works better to go ahead and deal with it and move on. But because if I don't deal with it, then it becomes a big problem. So let's talk to some
I'm
of
gonna
the.
ask Paula what she think about that. Why do you talk about it, Paula, if you don't want your husband to solve it or fix it for you?
It's just the act of it,
Mhm.
right? It's honestly just the act of it. And I did go to school to be a counselor. I fell
Okay.
into wellness and whatnot, but we are kind of genetically different. I think men and female when it comes to processing emotions and also just I think a little bit different because my husband is a fixer. If I came in and I'm like, oh my gosh, this happened and it's blah blah, and I feel this way, he's like, how can we do to make it better? And I'm like, I don't want to make it better right now. Right now, I just want to talk about it. I'll come to you when I want some solutions. But right now, I don't want solutions. I just want to talk about it. But if I talk too much about it and I ruminate and I keep going and going and going, that doesn't help me either. But I feel like I just want to keep saying the same thing 5,000 different ways.
Wow. Is your name Valerie?
Yeah.
I'm trying to release the frustrations you're carrying.
That's
Yeah.
that's exactly right.
All right. That's
I also think.
Go ahead.
Also,
Who they want this? They want this. Come on now.
I also think with just experience with women and also being married, a lot of women have it under control already. They just need to get it out and talk themselves through the process. That's why we got to be listeners and know when to fix. When it gets to a problem, okay, I think I do need to step in and help you and fix this. But a lot of women just need to. They already have it under control, but they need to work the process through their mind, say it out loud, see your reaction.
That's a good radio answer.
That's what I was going to say too. I think it comes back to control. And a lot of times if I'm to a point where I feel like I need to blow up and get it out, I've already thought of every solution.
Yeah.
I've already considered it. It's either out of my control or whatever it is. So whenever you go tell somebody and they're like, oh, well, have you tried this? Have you tried plugging it in? It's like, yes, I tried that. Can you just listen to me complain for a little bit?
Yes. And that was a very, you know what, young buck, that was all right then. Yeah. Justin, what you have to say? I have to agree with you, Eric. That's exactly
That was a good radio
that,
answer.
look at Brother Carter.
I think if you're trying to improve your relationship and your communication, you got to use tools like, preface that conversation with, I just need you to listen. My wife does a great job of coming and saying, I just need to vent this. And I know at that point, I don't even have to listen. I just need to stand there and let her say what
You know what, really, Jeff? I hope she's listening to you right now. I can't stand you.
Yeah. Sometimes we just need to be heard, and I need you to know how ridiculous this situation is.
You know what, Justin? You and Brother Carter are going to be in trouble.
But as far as Paula's husband and myself are concerned, I don't know if Justin has to deal with this when your wife saying the same. What you say the same thing in 500 different ways?
Yeah.
And you expect the husband to just sit there and listen to all you said the same thing, honey.
Yeah. I'm going to say it again.
Yes.
And at some point, we get frustrated. I'm sure your husband get frustrated, Paula, like I do. And, we just being transparent.
Yes.
Okay. It get a little frustrating hearing the same. What am I, some kind of idiot that I didn't hear the first 16 times?
So what if Val told you, I don't need you to solve this. I just need you to listen or pretend like you're listening.
That would be helpful.
All right. Well, there's you a tool right there. Take that home and practice it.
There you
That's
go.
for you, man.
I got that.
You have to tell me. They just won't.
Well, if she doesn't remember, you can interrupt her and ask, do you want me to fix this, or do you just want me to do it?
Justin always have my back. See that? And yours.
That's true. That's true, Justin.
I want to go ahead. Will you get ready to say something? I want to say that the reason why this conversation is so important, and I really want us to make sure that we are giving tools not just to us on the platform. We're talking to the people out there. Stress is so bad. People handle it differently. Their relationships. We have someone that's on my team. She has 2 kids that are has autism, and she has 2 other kids that are normal. I hate to say normal. I call her kids. They're gifted, and she is working on her second degree, and she is married and a full-time mom, and talk about stress. So and they both have two different challenges, but when she come into the office, she is present, she is
Mm-hmm.
there. And so I really want us to also be conscious that we're making light of how we deal with stress,
Mm-hmm.
but just imagine being in the stress
Those people
day
are under a
in,
lot of
day out,
pressures.
a
Yeah.
lot of pressure. So
Yeah.
I really feel that this is a great conversation to have, and we need to really spend a little more time um, figuring out ways,
Yeah.
healthy ways to deal with our stress, because we got people just going kind of
Yeah.
crazy
People
out
are
there.
killing people behind
Yes,
stress.
behind
Yeah.
stress and doing
Yeah.
things to harm themselves.
Yeah. How do you know when it's time to take a step back? Abigail,
When earlier when we
and
were
what does that step back look like also?
yeah, so earlier when we were talking about how like um whenever we stress ourselves out that we can kind of neglect our own personal like
Hmm.
needs.
Hmm.
That's kind of when I realized I needed to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
When I was coming home from work, I wasn't taking care of what I needed to take care of. I would go home and go straight into my bedroom and just lay around, scroll on my phone.
Hmm.
I wasn't hanging out with my friends either. I wasn't making effort towards anything.
Hmm.
And so
You sound like you was depressed then.
yeah,
Yes.
I really, and I'm still trying to kind of come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that I do feel was like stress from my job that I just take home with me
Mm-hmm.
inevitably. And so for me, taking a step back before I decided to, change career paths and kind of make a really big change like that,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to make like a mental change, and I like to call it like tricking my brain or manipulating myself, like in the
Mm-hmm.
same way that you train a dog, like
Mm-hmm.
good behavior with treats or whatever. Like
Hmm.
I would kind of do that to myself and change the way I looked at things. Um and whenever like I was at work for my full shift or whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
know that there's still things that need to get done, but I as one person cannot possibly do all those things. I had to just say it is what it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to get done, and I had to be okay with
Not,
not
yeah.
executing every single thing I
Right.
planned on, and
Hmm.
really just prioritizing. And if whatever is the most pressing thing is going to get done first, and some things just kind of have to wait.
Yeah.
So like for me, taking a step back was taking away some of the control that I really feel like I need a lot of the time.
Wow, wow, wow.
That was very authentic.
Hey Justin, let me ask you a question. She brought up something. Excuse me. Do you believe that stress and depression can come hand in hand?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a way to deal with your stress and manage that and reduce it to a point that you can handle,
Mm-hmm.
that will turn into depression because you just feel like you're trapped,
Hmm.
hopelessness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Wow.
trapped. That really resonated with how I was feeling at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Trapped.
That wow, wow.
And so, Paula, hearing that, how would one uh, come out of this stressful depression type of feeling? How would you handle that?
How would you recommend they deal with that?
Yes.
You got to get help. You can't always do everything on your own.
Hmm.
You gotta reach out to resources that are going to help you walk through your
Mm-hmm.
situation and what you're going through, right? So if that's seeing a therapist, a counselor, is it temporary medication? I think, there's that whole thing that I'm not strong enough if I can't do this on my own. So I got to
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. But sometimes, I'm a big believer. I tell everyone needs therapy. Even
Mm-hmm.
if you think you're fine, you need therapy.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that there is a big taboo in saying you need help. You know,
Hmm.
and when I'm thinking and listening to you, I see peaks of me in a younger version of me. I can tell you this.
Who you talking? You
I'm
talking?
talking to Abigail.
Abigail? Okay.
Honestly, we have no control over anything,
Mm-hmm.
and we put that really unnecessary pressure on ourselves because we thrive off of a need of having everything under control,
Hmm.
and we have to recognize it's just we ain't controlling nothing. We have no control over anything. All we're doing is making everyone around us uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So I don't know why.
Is it a need of control, or is it a need to of some kind of appreciation, having some kind of feeling of appreciation?
Well, that is part of it.
Yeah.
Because you want to be recognized. That's why you're constantly doing, and that's why I had to step back.
And it all I feel like it all stems from a pressure of like wanting to be great, wanting to succeed, wanting to have a good life for yourself, to a point where like you hold yourself back because you're so focused on the end goal rather than how to get there.
Yes, and not appreciating the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Now you gotta stay. You gotta. Sometimes you have to just sit in the moment and appreciate where you're at versus getting so busy trying to get down the street. You're missing that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's something you learn with age too,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You learn that with age. Because I was thinking the same thing when I hear Abigail talk. I'm like, oh, that used to be me, you know?
Oh God, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. But you're gonna get it, and I think you'll get it sooner than we got it because you're talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're recognizing it. Back then, we didn't even recognize what it was. We were just doing. So
No,
it was. Just, go ahead.
having self-awareness in your 20s is such a huge
It
asset.
is huge. It's huge. So you're
I
gonna.
didn't have that.
I'm telling you. So you're gonna be just fine. I don't know
That's
why
good.
I'm being. Kelsey, I need you to come in here.
And just to add on to what you said, Miss Paula, you said it comes with age, but age don't have anything to do with it, in my opinion. I think it comes with maturity, because there's a lot of old folk out there that still.
For sure.
I think that's what I meant by age.
Yeah.
Say the right word.
We do, yeah, we do exactly what you. I know, yes, I'm actually bringing Kelsey in because, and Kelsey, I'm transparent. Kelsey is unofficially, but officially, still a part of the family. She'll be leaving us. This is her last year, so she's going to take
This is the last year,
that's
day.
last year. No, her last year in college.
Okay.
And so she has been, and this was difficult for her to do, and even harder for me to let her go because she's one of my babies. But she is taking a leave of absence, not leaving the job. She's taking a leave of absence. And she's wanting, because of stress, trying to get through her college, her senior year. Let's talk about how the stress did you and how it gripped you that you finally had to say, I need a break.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, how it got me. Honestly, my whole life, I'm going to say I just dealt with it and I shouldn't have. I mean, what I mean by that is I always stress about a lot, but I don't vent to people or get it off my chest. I just let it build up and I just take it on and take it on.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I'm like older and I'm starting to realize my mental health is very important now because
Mm-hmm.
full transparency, it got to the point where I just actually just passed out. Like it's just too much stress. It's too much.
Mhm.
So I had to make a hard decision that I didn't want to make, but I had to make a decision of having to limit myself in certain areas. Like, okay, I need to pull myself back and focus on one thing at a time
Mm-hmm.
in order to be successful.
Mhm.
So I had to choose that hard decision on choosing to finish school and focus strictly on school because trying to juggle all three. I also work two.
Another job.
Yeah, I work 2 jobs and go to
Full-time
school,
school.
full-time school. So it's kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
and I realized my grades were starting to go low. Like I
Mhm.
was starting to fail and I wasn't really focusing in class. I wasn't really being my full potential self as a student because I know I can do better on
Mhm.
certain assignments.
Mhm.
So I was just like, I have to make this hard decision of choosing school.
That's beautiful that you even recognized it and making that choice. That's a true sign of true maturity. So
Mhm.
they doing a good job with you.
Yeah.
Thank
They're
you.
your mom and daddy. They ought to be proud of
You,
Absolutely.
you. Yes.
one of the things that I absolutely love, and I hope, and you guys can chime in at any time on this conversation that we're having with my baby that will be leaving us for a little bit, Kelsey, because I want to pour into her. And one of the things that I know about Kelsey, and I've watched her, she is such a young lady that's so focused on helping everybody. And she doesn't want to let anybody down. And it kind of makes me want to cry.
Mhm.
And if I can leave you with any words,
Mhm.
it's okay to say no. If people care about you, they're going to be okay. And those that don't, they didn't care in the first place, and what they have an issue with ain't going to matter anyway.
That's
It's
right.
okay to say no. I'm so proud of you, and I said since day one that it does me no good to have you here and you fail on your dream. It means more to me that you go after it, and then we'll celebrate when you get it. So, oh Lord, y'all have anything to share? Because it's gonna be hard for me for a little bit.
wanna
Not
say
have my
something.
baby. Go ahead.
I want to say that no is one of the most powerful words to your own peace. So you really need to, everyone, you need to learn how to say no more for your own peace, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of no one else. So
And not only, just to add to that, not only just saying no, but being okay saying the word no. And so a lot of times you can say no and then still feel guilty. And so that's not proper, that word.
Yeah.
Can't get the word out right now.
Yeah, that's okay. We know
That
what you.
profit you none to say no and to feel bad about saying it. So you have to say, when you say no, be okay with it. I usually like to take a deep breath when I say no.
All righty. You guys, Paula, Justin, y'all have anything to add or to share with Kelsey in this transition? Because it really was heavy and messing with her mental. So we want to give her something.
Yeah, we will. I want to say this to Kelsey. We're gonna truly, truly miss you here at the Love and Victory Show with your host Val. Brother Carter has grown very fond of you being here, and appreciate all the stuff that you were doing here. It's gonna be missed, and these guys have some big shoes to fill, in my opinion. So step up to the plate, gentlemen.
And ladies.
Oh,
And ladies. And ladies.
They're a good team. They got it.
They
I
got
believe in
it.
them.
I think we got a good team here that's going to be with us, and we have Miss Abigail that's going to make sure that these brothers stay straight here. She got to take over spirit,
All righty, we're gonna let. I need Justin and oh God,
Paula.
Can you please?
Yeah, I think that it's also important to know that it is okay to have overextended yourself. And you don't know what your capacity is and where your boundaries need to be until you've gone too far. So this is a great learning opportunity for you to know, okay, this is how many balls I can juggle at one time. And as I grow, maybe I can try to expand that, but this is where my line is. That's really important.
That's good.
Very
Justin.
good. Go ahead, Paula.
Paula, any words of encouragement?
Man, keep trying new things. Keep listening to your gut. Your gut is going to guide you. And sometimes the gut is scary, but it'll guide you. So listen to it, try it, and just know that not everything always goes the way we want, right? We don't have control, but knowing that you're trying and doing for you, just keep doing it.
That's right.
Very good. Very good. All righty. Abigail, you want to share something, or are you good?
I'm good. I feel like everyone covered it all pretty well.
Then. Well, I again, Kelsey, I want you to know, and I know we're kind of getting off topic, but I know that it distresses personally, and so we can't have a conversation, and I can't have you sitting at this table and not really saying to you, acknowledging what you have brought to the table and where you're going. I know you're going to do great things, and so as she said, I'm still here, but I told her I need her to focus on her school. So, all right, I'm off of that because I'm a little emotional. All right, give us our last, because give us our last question, and then I have to read some of these comments off, and then we'll come back.
All right, so Miss Paula, what's the
Or
question?
should I say our next question?
Yeah. How do you think the state of the world has affected? I can't read the question.
You can't see it.
How do you think the problems in the world add to the stresses of life?
I think that if you spend a lot of time, right, watching the news, listening to the right, and if you're an NPR listener, whatever you are, it is quite possible that you can, like I was saying, there's internal, external way, stressors you can take those on. I think the pandemic added a lot of stress to people's lives, and I think we need to recognize that real world problem. And I think that everything we've been talking about here needs to be applied to that. So, listening to the news. I mean, like personally, I'm an avid NPR listener. I love to listen to the news. That's where I get my sources in the morning because I don't know the other stations around here, honestly. And I had to kind of stop because it wasn't helping my mental health to hear everything happening, all the negativity happening. And I think we need it. That's a boundary. That's a boundary.
That's right.
So, yep.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, Miss Paula. How do you deal with the stress of sending your children to school with all that's taking place?
Wow, that was a
in
good
the
question.
school?
I was a hot mess at the beginning. Like crazy mess. I didn't, because we didn't know a lot at the beginning, right? So I was like breaking down because my husband was like, we're gonna take the boat out. And I was like, you can't take the boat out because you can't use the public restroom. And my mind was just like going crazy and just these, who said irrational earlier? Like I was having these thoughts, but it was because what I was hearing and trying to learn about, this virus, and I was so worried. And it took me at least a year and a half to come down and realize that like I'm bad up here because all I'm thinking about is all these horrible things that could happen to my kids and what if. And I finally had to say, I'm giving you all the tools to keep you healthy, and I cannot control what's going to happen. My other issue was that I have a mom with dementia in a nursing home. She is, she doesn't speak anymore, really. She doesn't move anymore. And they have high restrictions there. And I had all these thoughts about, what if I get sick with COVID and something happens to her and now I can't go to her? And what if I miss her while she's dying? Like these were real thoughts. And I was putting these scenarios in my head, and it probably wasn't until 6 months ago where I said, you got to let that go.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Wow. And we do. Especially when it comes to the news, I do think, but we have to unplug, but you still have to,
you got to be engaged.
You got to be engaged because you got to know what's going on too. Because I think unplugging too much is just as bad because you don't know, you really don't know what's going on, and so you're letting people that you come in contact still feed your brain sometimes with what their thoughts or what they're listening to. And so I think you have to find a healthy balance because you can't stay plugged into this news 24/7. It will.
Got to take a break.
Got to take a break for it. I totally agree with you on that.
Amen. So one more question on that, Ms. Paula. What does the conversation look like with your kids when school? Did you have a conversation first with your kids before sending them to school? And if so, what did that conversation look like?
Yes. So I'm very frank with my kids too. And we talked about it. In fact, so coming back this year, so the first year back in person, I gave my daughter, we talked about it. I said, let's go, let's stay remote. In about 2 weeks of remote, I said, oh my gosh, your mental health is suffering more. Our relationship is suffering. You're going to go back. And I sent her back. My son was in kindergarten. I said, heck no, you can't stay home. You're going. And this year, we're back. When school started, we were in red or orange, and the recommendation was still a mask. And I looked at both my kids and I said, we have talked about this virus. You know what it can and cannot do. You know this and that. I'm giving you a choice. You have a mask. You make a choice. Take your vitamins. This is why we eat healthy, because when our gut is good, we can recover from viruses, right? So we just had a conversation about health, and I gave him a choice. And I said, here, you can wear it if you want. And if you don't, I'm going to let you make the choice because you have the information now. And that took a lot. That took a lot of growth for me through this pandemic to get to that point.
So what you did is you let go of trying to control something that you had no control over, and you just went on with life.
Yeah, well, because listen, my kid was my youngest was probably going to school with the mask and not even wearing it. You know what I mean? So like, what was I doing? I was creating this scenario in my head that you're really you're wearing it all the time, and No, you're not.
Uh,
And
At
but
this point, Miss Paula, the mask is the least of the problem. You got people coming in with guns shooting up children today. So
yeah.
yep.
how did that conversation take place with your kids?
Um, so I have not actually talked to my kids about what has happened with that. They do drills here. They tell me when they do the drills,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about that. And I say, yeah, I mean, that is it is happening.
Mm-hmm.
We pray and hope that that does not happen at your school ever, but you now have the tools and can be a little bit prepared for that. That is probably one subject that I do try to shelter at least my youngest one from.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest, because she's in junior high, she knows, she's probably heard about it,
Mm-hmm.
but and I'm gonna, we want to talk about that. We're also Jewish. We go to a synagogue,
Mm-hmm.
and we are constantly, and I'm on the board, and we're constantly talking about our security and how are we protecting ourselves when we go to synagogue. So, and that is a conversation I have had with my kids when we're at synagogue, and you might possibly see something that is suspicious. Who do you need to tell?
Yeah.
Right? Who do you need to tell?
Mm-hmm.
All righty then.
Because there's a lot of people out there afraid to have a conversation with their children. And so I think it's very, very important that we not shield our children from it. This is just my opinion, that we not shield our children from what's really taking place in our educational system today. I mean, things are real. People are dying all the time. People are getting shot up and killed. And so I believe that we do need to have a conversation with our children to make them proactive in case of
Something happened.
something happening.
I think it has to be age appropriate because not all kids because I think what we can do is add more stress to
Right.
them.
Right.
And so I think that that's a conversation that has to be determined by the parent and also the age of the child because what we can do is add a lot of stress to them where what in fact hurt them even with the education. So we want to try to keep the innocence as much as possible and find a balance with making sure that we're teaching them safety tips.
You just
And
got to
so
know your kid.
you just have to know your
Yeah,
kid
yeah.
and you have to know when to have that conversation with your kids. I know we kind of got on you, Miss Paula. I don't know why, maybe because
Because she the one with kids.
she the one with kids, but but we
I
have the
don't think
grandkids.
Justin got a lot of
Justin has
four-legged
a lot of
children.
kids. He has a lot of four-legged kids, right? Just well,
I do.
I want to say this. I asked for the thank you, Lawrence, because those are some very good, Brother Carter. Those are some very good questions. We asked for what was your question that you asked the guest for?
Best way for you to relieve stress, and we ask for the best answer.
And so, I do you see the?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so you want to go ahead and see what came
Yes.
back in?
So Cynthia Wilburn said the best way to release stress is to stop trying to control the circumstances and situations.
Okay.
Let go and let God. God is the only one who is in control, from Garland. And she
Oh,
also stated, also you have to grow and mature into the will of God.
okay, so Garland's answer was because she's saying that was from Garland. So
Uh-huh.
read that again. That she it's under her, but Garland gave the answer first, and then she gave her second answer.
Gotcha. So Garland said, for the best way to release stress is to stop trying to control the circumstances and situations. Let go and let God. God is the only one who is in control. And then
Okay.
she said, Cynthia, also you have to grow and mature into the will of God.
Well,
both good answers.
very
Yeah,
good
both
answers. And so they're in the same household. They get to bring each other to the concert. To the concert. So Cynthia, I think you're no, I'm not gonna say Cynthia. Garland, your answer was the best because I think he won that. What would y'all say? Justin,
Agree.
what you think? You agree?
Agree.
Okay. What about you, Paula?
Yep.
Yeah.
And for you, Brother Carter?
I don't believe in dividing the household, so I believe they both had the right answer.
That's true. That is true. You're messy. Well, I want to say here, wow. I believe this
We
was.
thank God for your responses.
Thank
there
you so
also.
much. And Kelsey will send that over to you guys here shortly, Garland and Cynthia, for your free concert tickets. Before we say our goodbyes, I think we're back in here. There should be a Look at Justin. He just pops in. You're so good. Oh, there should be a flyer.
Wow,
Show.
look at her.
Look. Oh, look at her. Look at
Mhm.
her. I am so proud of this show. We have been nominated again as the Spin Awards 2020 Wild Card nominee. So, I think we need to. I'm telling y'all, we are doing a thing, and I'm very, very, very proud to be a part of this journey with you guys. So, the voting start on the 15th. We're going to. There'll be a link on our website, and we'll be putting it out there on social media on Monday where it'll take you directly to the it'll be a QR code that'll take you directly to the spin award, right to the spot to start voting for us. In order for us to win, we need your vote. Uh,
And you can vote as many times as you
you
choose.
can vote as many times as you choose. I think why this is so special to me. Uh, Last year we were nominated, and this year we're still in the hunt. We're still there, so we're doing something right. And I never even dreamed of being on radio. Where my team, this has been a passion for them, and I'm just telling you, when God has something for you, He has something for you. And so just follow your passion. As Brother Carter said earlier, that if God is in it, you'll be all right. So I guess God is in this Love and Victory show with Val. All righty
You
then.
guess?
I know it. I know it. All righty. So now it's time for us to say goodbye to our guests. And I'll go around the room. I don't see their faces. Oh, there they go.
Hmm.
There they go. There they go. I want, and as we do this, we always start with our guests, and we want you to tell how your experience has been with the Love and Victory show, what you got out of it, and also how you can be reached if someone wants to reach out to you for anything.
And also give a little helpful tool for someone out there that's listening to handle the stress as well.
Exactly. Thank you. So we're going to start with Abigail here in studio. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel like my biggest takeaway from today is to definitely just kind of work on my how I control situations and learn to let loose a little bit and not try to be so like uptight about it. This was a really really helpful conversation, and I really liked how we were all able to bounce ideas off of each other and have this discussion. What else did? Oh, and my socials. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my Instagram is AbbyGLOL. That's ABBYGLOL, and that's my TikTok as well.
All righty then, Abby. And to Paula, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so this has been awesome. This has been so much fun. I love just having conversations with people because your perspectives are just so genuine and so important to the world, right? Because we're also in like individuals. So I've had a blast. So thank you so much. One thing I would say, a tool or something to take away if you're trying to work on your stress is take a week to just practice some gratitude. Just write
Mm,
it down.
mm,
Just
wow.
do it. 3 things for 1 week, and you will see a little bit of change inside of you.
Mhm.
So
That's
that's what I would say. And I'm on Instagram at Mill Spouse Coach Poe. So feel
Say
free
that
to.
again. Kind of went too
Mhm.
fast. It broke up. Say it again for us. We
Yeah,
want to make sure they get you.
thank you. It's Mill Spouse Coach Poe or Mill. Yeah, Mill. No, it's Mill Spouse Poe. See, I don't even know my own handle.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
no,
what
no,
am
no.
I?
Right.
Like,
What is
what
it?
is it? Because you don't say it out loud a lot, right?
Well,
So
what
it's
we'll
Mill
do is
Spouse.
we'll put it down in the we'll put it down under the
Can she
description.
type in?
There you
No,
go.
we got you. So go ahead and put it. You know her handle.
I'm
Kelsey
pulling
knows
it
it.
up right now.
Okay, she's pulling it on there for us. We'll put it. We got you. And to Justin.
I think one thing I really want to say, I think it's important to understand the consequences or the potential consequences of not developing some tools to manage your stress, especially in a public forum. And, it's a really negative reflection of our society, but it's different, different consequences for men than for women. It's
Mhm,
different consequences for Black people than for white people. And
mhm,
it's different consequences for rich people than for poor people. So if you are a rich white man, you probably live in a consequence-free environment. And on the polar opposite of that, if you are a poor Black woman, you probably live in an environment that is loaded with consequences for everything that you do. And I think it's really important to understand those risks. And I'm not saying they're right, but they're real. They exist, and we got to deal with that. So we got to be smart about how we manage ourselves and develop these tools for stress so that we can protect ourselves and our loved ones.
All right, amen.
Wow. And to Eric.
And that way,
Oh, I'm
just want
sorry.
to say how he can be.
Oh, yeah,
found.
that's right. I'm sorry, Justin. You did not say how they can find
Oh,
you.
yeah.
What?
You can find me on Instagram at jboydlong. That's JBoydLong.
Okay, J.
Yeah.
Bar Long. All
And you
right.
can also purchase his books.
Yes.
Justin is an author, also a book writer, and he has several books. How many books you have out there now, Justin?
I've got 7 at the moment, working on number 8. And you can find all those at jboydlong.com.
All
There
right,
you go.
amen.
There you,
Amen.
Justin. I don't think I have them all. So something's wrong with that picture. We need to fix that. So it
I got
can
to
go,
work on that.
because you can find them. The ones that I have, you can also go to the Love and Victory Show, and you can click on it. They'll take you right to his website to purchase. So you need
All
to work
right.
on those other ones. All righty then. And to Eric, what did you get out of the show today?
I thought today was a good topic that needs to be discussed every single day. I think everyone had a good the experiences with it, the ideas to how
What
to.
did you get out of it?
What did I get out of it?
Yes.
That everyone has stress,
There you go.
and that's what it is. So pray, let go, and let God. I would say control what you can control, but guess what? You don't have control of everything. God has control of everything. So that's why I say pray and let go and let God. And be okay with no.
Yeah.
To me, no is one of the biggest words that can help to your peace. And like Brother Carter added earlier, you have to be okay with saying no before you say it. Don't just say it because you feel like it's
Oh,
going to still be
yeah.
on you. So yeah.
All righty. And do you have anything
What he said mostly.
that works for you? Okay, then. Well, before I turn it to Brother Carter, I want to turn the mic to Miss Kelsey. And whatever Miss Kelsey wants to say, she can say it.
This topic actually really hit home because it just is basically what I'm success under stress.
Yeah.
Know when to push back and know when to say no or to just take a break. So I really enjoyed this topic today. There was some key points in there that really just stood out to me, and I was just like, "Wow, this." It's funny because like when I come up with these topics, or when the team come up with these topics, I don't even think of it for myself. I think of it for other people,
Mhm.
and so I'm just like, "Wow, this is for me actually." It's not just for me, like it's really
Yeah.
hitting home. Like, oh wow.
But you made it personal.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want. We want people to be able to get something out of this conversation. So
Absolutely.
this conversation, you feel like it was for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
And
for that.
what parting words do you want to leave us with? Just for,
Parting
a few
words?
months.
This is not goodbye. This is see you later.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
That's good. That's
Okay. And Brother Carter.
good. As for me, this has been a very, very good subject today. Like all your shows, Val, they're very good. So my simple tool would be this. You can use it in any environment, whether you're at home, work, or play. When you feel yourself stressed out and overwhelmed, take a deep breath. Let it go. Inhale and exhale. Stretch if you must. Whatever it takes to get the stress out of your neck. And I'm going to leave you, I always like to leave you with a scripture. And today's scripture is going to come from the book of Hebrews, 12th chapter, verses 1 through 4. You read it at your own
Okay.
time.
All right then. All righty. And as always, I hate to go, but I really have enjoyed this show every Saturday. But this morning, Kelsey said the show was for her. She felt like it was personal for her. I felt like it was personal for me. I got something out of this too. And I think the one thing, my takeaway out of this is that I just have to say, I don't want you to fix it. I just need you to listen to it. So I'm just going to say, just listen to me.
I'm gonna ask you,
And
I'm
so,
gonna ask
and
you
if
when
I
you
don't
start.
remember, You just say,
Thank you, Justin.
okay.
That was a very helpful tool.
That was a very helpful tool. Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you, Justin, as always. Paula, you are a breath of fresh air. As Justin can tell you, you don't just become a guest on the show, you become a part of the family.
That's right.
So don't be surprised if
we
the
call upon
we're
you
gonna
again.
no, we will call upon you again because you are just authentically true. I love you. I love how open you are, and
Look at it
I'm
right there.
sure the guests that are on the air listening, and even the ones in studio, feel exactly the same way. Uh, you are awesome, and so just stay safe. We love you, Justin. You know, I don't know who's going to hold Brother Carter together from a man's perspective on the first.
So Justin won't be there?
Justin won't be there. Justin has a
I'm
prior.
sorry.
Oh,
Oh, JBL.
well,
Well, we really do appreciate you guys coming on to the show each and every Saturday.
Yes.
I'll let you continue your
yes.
practice.
So thank you, Justin. I know that what you have, and I appreciate you always being professional. So Justin can't be on the first, so he came in on today to be
Okay.
with Paula.
Okay.
So thank you. You were
I'm
the
glad I did too.
Yes, you were the perfect person to have this conversation.
Mhm.
And again, let's everybody look at the camera and tell
Before
it.
you leave,
Oh, well, give it to 'em.
thank you. Want to thank
Oh, yeah.
our faithful fans
Okay.
on what is this called?
Oh.
YouTube Live.
Okay.
Live.
Thank you.
YouTube.
Always get me
Yeah,
right.
we're
That's
gonna
why
thank those people that come on live every day. We see you. We appreciate you. We thank you right now in the name of Jesus for coming in. We also have viewers on Facebook that tune into our tune into the show. We want to thank you for tuning in when you tune in, and we also want to thank those on Raise the Praise 100 radio station that listen to the show on that app also. Thank you all. Thank you all. May God continue to bless you and save your souls in Jesus' name.
All right, Brother
All right,
Carter.
all
All
right.
right,
I
brother.
preached today.
Okay. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. If Brother Carter don't come in with that broom and clean up things for me, I don't know what I'll do. So
That's
thank you
why
for
I'm your
having me here.
co-host.
That's why you my co-host.
That's
And
right.
again, if everybody can look at the camera and tell everybody we love you.
Love
We
you.
love you.
Love you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
On the Love and Victory Show.
Bye. We love you.